There's a lot of videos out right now about the gateway experience, which is decades old. This is Robert Monroe's work, originally on cassette tapes. So when we say tapes, they're now files online, but we refer to them as tapes. So this video is about how to achieve that, the hemi-sync, the gateway experience, the two hemispheres of your brain creating a third oscillation without needing the sounds, the headphones. A big shout out and thank you to Sharif from the channel My Gateway Experience for inspiring this video. So how to get there? A lot of people can get there without the tapes. You don't really need the tapes. But it's easier than driving a standard car, and it's similar, but way less nerve-wracking. There's something with the clutch and the switch, right? So you have your left side of the brain, which is all about logic, right? What do I have to do now, next? Driving, calculating, putting things in order, logic, your day-to-day. Society is way too left-brained. We're not meant to function using just one side of our brain. If we want to use more of our brain, we should always be functioning with the two of them. That's when we are in touch with our intuition. Intuition comes from the right side of the brain. Anything artistic, anything where you're letting it flow out of you, that's your divinity, that's your God source, that's your higher self. When you're singing, when you're dancing, when you're painting, when you're just in the flow, and art, creation, imagination is flowing through you, that's when you get insight from higher levels and messages and things that you could have never thought up. So you do have to first learn how to imagine. You have to at least get there. Like if you can imagine your foot when you don't look at your foot, just imagine your foot there. Now imagine you feel your big toe. Imagine purple light in your big toe. Imagine your big toe heating up on one of your feet. You're going to feel it. You're going to see it in your mind's eye. This is activating, starting to get there, activating your right brain. So anybody can do this. When you are lying down, you don't have to not think of nothing. I know everybody's like, how can I shut off this brain? It's just too loud, right? It is too much going on. You may want to watch my previous video entitled, what's it entitled? Sabotage, the Imperial Self, and Agent Smith. They all have this in common, because you may have an emotional body that was traumatized, running around somewhere that's sabotaging you because it wants attention. So if you're a traumatized individual, you need to put the focus on your emotions first before you can really get anywhere in life. But you can also use Hemi-sync to get answers about those traumas, things that you can't quite work out. It's a very, very useful tool. It's gold. It's everything. Don't underestimate Robert Monroe's work and the gateway experience. My father gave me those tapes on a CD in the 90s, and I was a teenager. I didn't know what to do with them. It took me about 20 years before he mentioned them again and sent me the files, and it's just wow. Just incredible. If you're having trouble slowing down your mind, because first you have to slow down. Like when I talked about driving a standard vehicle, you have to take your foot off of the gas and put the clutch in a bit. So you do have to slow down, take your foot off the gas. You have to take the foot off the gas of the left side of your brain, metaphorically speaking. So to relax, when you're lying down, your brain is going through all kinds of things. Visualize that you're putting them all in a box with a heavy lid in the corner of the room. It's the same process for any hypnosis. You're not going to need anything that you have swimming around you where you're going. Just put it all visualize a box in your room with a big heavy lid or coffin, stone lid. Put everything that comes to your mind in there. Then use that left side of your brain to keep it active by relaxing your body. Challenge yourself. How relaxed could I possibly get? How good can this feel? And start at your toes or start in your stomach. Practice circulating energy in your body using your mind. Practice bringing the energy from your head to your feet, from your feet to your head, or in circles. I like to bring it up and loop like a fountain. Or double directional breathing, breathing down while energy comes up is a great one because you're balancing, you're keeping your brain very active. It's hard to visualize it. And breathing, letting the air come up while the energy comes down. So you're doing double directional breathing at the same time. This keeps the left brain very engaged and focused. And it's taking the foot off the gas. You're no longer like in beta brainwave state of I got this, that. You're just using that brain that's so powerful, that left side, and you're challenging it to do some work of double directional breathing, of imagining that you can feel where you're thinking, because you do. If you put your attention on something, put your focus on your legs to relax your legs will relax. You command it. Imagine your spine lengthening, spaces between your spine, your organs getting very relaxed. Go body part by body part. Release, practice breathing deeper, longer, slower, until every little muscle starts to feel like it's melting off your bones. Melt that jaw down. Relax your tongue, the back of your eyes, your brain, your shoulders. Let everything wash through you. That's the first step. You have to relax, take the foot off the gas. The more you do this, practicing hemispheric synchronization, the more easily it happens because you're creating grooves in your mind, pathways for the neurons to go. And so when it's not used to going there, of course it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but it doesn't mean it will always be that challenging. I guarantee you it won't be. The more you practice something, the more it gets hardwired in, and just grooves are made to go there. So soon it's like you just snap your fingers, you're relaxed, and you go. So when you're in this very relaxed state, super duper relaxed, take a moment to feel gratitude. A tender, warm, honest gratitude, because that, no matter how bad you're feeling, no matter what happened to you that day, if you can be thankful for that state of relaxation that you just achieved, that gratitude, my friends, raises your energy like 10, 20, 100-fold from wherever you were. So that's the second trick. You raise your vibration through the relaxation. So that's starting to bring in the next gear, which is a higher vibrational state. So just being thankful. Oh, I'm so lucky I can relax my body like this. I'm so lucky I have the time, 10 minutes to lie down. I'm so lucky that I know that I'm empowered and I can do this and I don't need anybody else. I'm so lucky that I'm not alone. I have divine essence that I can intertwine with whenever I want. That is my higher self, my oversoul, my guides. You're never alone. So be thankful, have this gratitude. And when you feel the gratitude, okay, this is when you invite the right brain to come online. Because it's like you put a bit of, you switch the gear with the gratitude, and now putting on the gas to get more of that right brain. You want to imagine another light coming into the room, okay? And it's true, scientifically there are small quantum particles called neutrinos that are responsible for the brightest, sunniest day. They're the most elusive quantum particle. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I believe they're scientific evidence of angels. They can go through rocks, they can go through lead. To study neutrinos, they have to dig something deep, deep, deep underground because no other particles can get in except neutrinos, and they travel faster than the speed of light. So you can call these in. They're using these for their intergalactic communications as we speak. You can communicate with them. It's scientifically proven. So you just call in. You call in the light. Call it in. And you can visualize it whatever color you want. White, blue, purple, green. Maybe it depends on what you want to do. It's always safe with a white light. Green is heart. Purple is healing and cosmic. Blue is protection. If you have any fear or any guilt in you, it's never wise to start playing with higher dimensions, because the astral is still technically higher, even though it's much lower. If you don't know your power as a human being and how much more powerful you are than that bullshit, then maybe you shouldn't go here. The first step is to eradicate your body of any fear or guilt. You have to know that guilt is societal programming. Guilt serves a purpose for a very short period to make that about face, make that change. And if you can't, it's too long ago, you have to just forgive yourself. Know that you're super forgiven. There's nothing to forgive. It's all lessons. It was a learning experience. Because when you are forgiven, you are atoned. You just declare it. I am forgiven. I am atoned. All the darkness, you say, you have no hold on me, and you just see it and feel it leave. That is your power, knowing who you are, knowing that you are forgiven. And it's bullshit to say that you're walking in sin and you should feel guilty. That's bullshit societal programming. So you have to make sure your body knows, I'm atoned. I'm super forgiven. There's nothing to forgive. It's all lessons. I feel good. There's no reason to be afraid. I'm not afraid. You can't be living in fear to be doing this kind of higher work. So you really got to eradicate those. Watch my earlier videos about that. The gallbladder is often involved with trauma and where we lose ourselves. That's why there's a few videos on gallbladder. So back to this. You are bringing in the light. You're relaxed. The first step, using the left side of your brain to logically go through your brain and relax it. So this is the first step. You're inviting the right brain to work with the left brain, using your logic and using your imagination, slowing down, taking the foot off the gas. Then you feel gratitude. You're switching the gear, getting into a higher vibrational state. Really feel that gratitude. Then you just take a moment to say, thank you. Like, that's enough. In your mind, you don't have to say it out loud. You just say, thank you. And it raises the energy. And then you call in the light, and you can imagine it coming in geometric shapes, or just light swirling around you and then coming into your body. You could imagine it like a blanket of light coming in. So when you imagine it, you will see it in your mind's eye if you don't have your eyes open and see it in the air in front of you. Because, let me show you something. We've all seen this is actually like this kind of symbol. That's horrible how I drew it. Can't draw the Aquarius symbol. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, it's something like this. It's waves. it's two waves. The Aquarius symbol, it's an air sign, not a water sign, and they call it the water bearer, right? And you see Aquarius is pouring the waters. These are the waters of life. The waters of life aren't water. They are sound and light waves, and you can't really have one without the other. I believe first came the word, it was spoken in. So sound is always there. It's just, do we pick up on it? And so there's so many sounds around that are just not audible to our human ears. So the point of why I said that is, if you're bringing in light and you're working with light instead of sound, it's the same thing. The two waves go together. So there is a sound, trust it. It's just you're not hearing it with your human ears. So you bring in that light and it merges with you. And here you can go anywhere from there. This is just how you get there. You're hemi-synced right there. Now you can go on adventures. Before you do that or after do that, you can create what Robert Monroe calls a resonant energy balloon, where you have your energy circulating in a circle. I believe that's focus 10. And then if you expand that circle, and usually it puts a sound that kind of sounds like an airplane taking off in your head. And the sound kind of helps you visualize, oh, okay, there's a plane taking off, I'm going woo, higher. You don't need that sound, really. You can just imagine the plane's taking off. Right out of my head. My thoughts are going out of my head and going to my higher self up here, over my head. And you make your resonant balloon a bit bigger, so your consciousness is much wider than it usually is. So when you're talking to your brain using images, you're already in. You're in the programming state. You can program your mind to do whatever from that state. This is dream language. You're showing in pictures what's happening. You're saying, oh, I'm seeing and feeling a plane taking off. It means you're about to take off. You're going somewhere. My energy is expanding. My consciousness is expanding. My sense of perception is expanding. So you don't need to state that in words. You're showing the picture that I am expanding, I am taking off. And that's all consciousness. I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. I had a thought while I was talking. Let me think. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh yeah. Okay. Another easy way you can do this like 24/7 is imagine your mind is up here. Like right here. You know those Egyptian pictures where you have the deities and they have a big disc right over their head? Looks like a big sun. This is where your higher self is. I remember when I was a teenager, I visited my aunt in California. I was about 13, and she asked me, what does it feel like to be a kid? And I told her it feels like my head is a helium balloon up here. And she gave me such a weird look, like it really, she was like, like she had really never heard that before. And I was walking around thinking that all kids felt like that, because I knew, or I heard from my dad, that kids, like, you have your aura first and then your physical body grows into your aura. So I just thought all kids felt like their head was up here because we're all growing into our aura. But really what was going on is that's just how much more aware I was than everybody else from a very young age. I always kind of felt like I was watched and had like a constant conversation with God, because I was always thinking from up here. I wasn't even in my head at all. That my brain was up here. So every day, if you think to get your information from up here instead of in there, it might help you get there faster as well. What else? You can do so much with the gateway. You can solve problems without the tapes, heal your body without the tapes, do the body mapping without the tapes. So they keep getting posted on YouTube and then taken down. And sometimes you have like the really good ones posted up and then you share it with someone and then they're taken down. What I think is going on is that there's protection at play. There's a lot of people that aren't ready to go there. So if you share it with the wrong person, they might have a bad experience. Maybe they're not ready. I don't know. So make sure whoever you share them with is ready for it. And I think there's a higher likelihood of them staying for free, whoever posts them for free on YouTube. Or you can spend the money and buy the files. Or you can just follow my instructions. It's like driving a standard car. So he does sound, right? There's one sound in one ear that's a tone, and another one like ocean waves, or maybe it's a solid tone. There's many different tones that are similar in hertz that will create a third frequency. I stumbled across on YouTube a guy with 12-inch singing bowls. One was in E and one was a D sharp. It was not in anybody's ear. The two bowls were just next to each other. You gong one, it makes a solid tone. The other one, it would have a solid tone, but because it's next to the other bowl and they're similar in hertz, what you hear is an oscillation, a wah, 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 wah. That's the third tone that's created when you have hemispheric synchronization. Because what's going on is that usually the brains take turns. And because they take turns, we miss out on a lot of information. And a third tone appears, a third sound, because you're actually using both of your brains at the same time. So that's the confirmation where it's like a wah, 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 wah. It feels different. It sounds different. It looks different. It's just different. So another thing I saw on YouTube is this person who had brain surgery, so he had like no connection of the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of his brain, and they were doing experiments on him because they thought this is so cool because one of his brains can't communicate with the other. So it would show the right side of the brain something, and even though it saw it and wrote down what it was, say it was like a screwdriver, then when you asked the left side of the brain, it showed the picture, it said you saw this, the left side of the brain responded, no, it must have been a mistake, or it must have been imagination. The left brain denied what the right brain saw, right? And this is fascinating. So if they're not working hand in hand, this is why so many people just deny their intuition. Because it is true, we're all intuitive, we're all healers, we're all telekinetic, we can all do all these superpowers. It's just you haven't unlocked them. It's not a matter of attaining elsewhere, it's a matter of taking off the shackles. It's like the people are bound up like a mummy. I know I was. You have to break out of that. And it's all just programming. It's societal programming, other people's shame that they put on you, other people that want to drag you down, other people's energy. It's like you need to constantly clear from that stuff. The more you let go, the more you clear, the more you surrender, and just wait with confidence that it's coming. Like, one technique is imagine, instead of like seeing a plane taking off and all that, try to be more patient. Like you're waiting for the bus. And just find that super relaxed state. You feel the gratitude. Try and feel your heart opening. Try and go to like your core, center of your heart, and that's the bus stop. And just wait. The bus, you know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. Just wait until the bus comes to pick you up. If you have a question, that's how you can do problem solving. You know, you can insert the problem and then wait for the bus to pick you up with the answer. Or you can do a technique where you erase a blackboard in your mind. Just erase it and watch for the answer to come to you. If that doesn't work, you can state your problem as if it's on a piece of paper, a loudspeaker, and send it up. Send it way up there. Like, that's my problem. And then just wait for the solution. And it will come. There's, if you're trapped, say, mentally on pharmaceutical drugs that are brain drugs, those make hooks in the brain. So if you can't get there and you're on antidepressants, anti-anxieties that are pharmaceutical, you may want to try before you take your pills, when your brain is more clear of the pharmaceuticals, or if you've only been trying when you're clear of the pharmaceuticals and you take them daily, try when you do take them. I don't know. In my experience working with people, there's nothing that blocks certain heights more than antidepressants, because the deeper you go, the higher you can go. It's the same thing as above, so below. So if you're blocking your lows, you're also blocking your highs. And it's tricky because people who are on pharmaceutical antidepressants, it can be next to impossible to get off of them. For some people, it's you become so much worse when you try to get off. And if you try to break the pills, it doesn't work either, because they're not evenly distributed with the medication inside the pill. So a friend of mine who was pumped up with like maximum dose of benzos, antidepressants and stuff, he had just no idea how far gone he was until someone mentioned he gained weight, and that's what made him snap back to reality. And he tried his hardest. He could not get off of them until he researched, and he found out you have to crush them all up every day, add 300 milliliters of water, and every day you take out an extra milliliter. So that way it's diluted, and you're taking out you're actually weaning off in a correct way, where you're taking out an actual milliliter less every day from your pills. If you don't do it like that, it can be very difficult. I've also made videos on Amanita muscaria, which has saved people's lives trying to get off benzos. Microdosing psilocybin also can help to focus, like a real microdose, a 0.1. What it does is it reroutes your brain. So your brain is always used to going in this loop where you feel like shit, or you're anxious, or you're whatever. Take a 0.1 of psilocybin, and it's as good as a pharmaceutical for most people, where you just have fresh mind, you're not high at all, you can just focus, and you're not depressed because it elevates your mood a bit. So there's psilocybin. Amanita muscaria is something else that works with the central nervous system, and it's very good for getting off of benzos, where people are suicidal trying to get off this stuff. They can't, because it has such hooks. Amanita muscaria has saved lives. You can throw out your benzos if you're microdosing with Amanita muscaria. It works with the central nervous system. It's not a hallucinogenic, it's a deliriant and a sedative. If you listen to Robert Monroe's Gateway tapes on a microdose of Amanita, it is something else. It's like, at least it was for me, like your brain listens to the sounds and it is sent somewhere. There's lots of different ways to expand your mind, but the central nervous system seems to be the gateway point, the 0 point. So getting out of logical brain is also thinking opposites. Think, like, no matter what you say. So ask yourself, especially if you're repeating it to yourself all the time, is that true? Especially if you're being mean to yourself, is that true? Stop being mean to yourself. You need to start watching your thoughts. So the first step of knowing yourself is be aware of your thoughts. Stop talking to yourself badly. Just stop it. Start being nice to yourself. And then start imagining whatever you say about anything, the opposite is also true. Because it is on a level. Words are a trap. The logical mind is a trap. You think you're so smart because you have everything figured out and compartmentalized. That's a trap. And it's a trap that's very hard to break out of when you're very intelligent, because you have a place for everything. This goes there, that goes there, and you're in control, right? And if you want to function in the 0 point, you got to surrender. It's not about control. It's about surrendering and letting things come to you. So you have to let go of that control. And that can be very frightening for a lot of egos, where their whole self-esteem might come from the way that they have compartmentalized things. And I'm just telling you, it's not good to get in touch with your intuition. It's not at all. That's why they say women are the gatekeepers, the protectors of the spiritual world. It comes naturally to us, and men are masters of the physical world. They're the builders, right? Structure, they master structure. So body is more structure. Women are more flowy, and we're more in touch with our intuition naturally, and our brains reflect that. A woman's brain is, the guy that wrote Men from Mars, Women Are from Venus, he's so right. A woman's brain is a ball of wires where everything is connected to everything. Everything. We do not have the option to compartmentalize because we raise children, and children always have to come first. So we always have to have an ear open for a high-pitched cry. We always have to be alert for that baby who might come to us at any time. So women learn to multitask and not compartmentalize anything. We're gathering herbs, keeping a lookout for some, but open to others, while we're gossiping, while we're taking care of the kids, while we're doing this, while we're doing that. Where men evolved to put everything in a box. They even have a nothing box that they can go to for peace. I'm so jealous of that, is their nothing box. So if you're a man, use the nothing box. If you don't know how to not compartmentalize, you have a compartment in your brain where there's nothing there, right? It's just like where you go to for peace, your internal man cave. Go there, okay? And from there, maybe you can learn how to integrate some of your other compartments. Because even though it's been working out for you until now, or up until now, it will work out a lot better for you to upgrade the mechanics of your mind out of that compartmentalization. Think of it as like new technology is here for the age of Aquarius, this plasma light body that knows no walls, it knows no limits. So why are you limiting yourself by compartmentalizing? Work here, wife there, sports here, sex there. Just get rid of the walls. Try it. Might feel a bit messy at first, but that's how you start to just go in the flow and trust your instincts more. Or go to the nothing box. So it's these compartments where you're labeling. This is where you bring in logic. And we use too much of that. So in day-to-day, wherever you notice where you're picking things apart, stop it. Try seeing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is more right brain. It's like emotionally, so many people do this. Emotions are usually thick, a whole bunch of them wrapped all together, and that's your emotion. And then people, instead of just feeling it and letting it flow, open the floodgates and letting that pass. After you do that, then you can let the logical brain go. But people get stuck a lot because they're trying to like pick apart this ball of emotions and make sense of it. Well, I feel kind of like this about that, but I also feel like that about that. And then they feel guilty for feeling that way. And this is why we don't always feel our emotions, because often we feel angry, then we feel guilty for feeling angry. Sometimes we're angry at God, and then we're like, I don't want to be angry at God. So then we just don't feel at all. Whereas if you want to flow, you have to prioritize the emotions, let them flow. As I've mentioned in many other videos, emotions don't need a thought. You can pick up emotions from other people, from your environment, from surroundings. They're just a frequency. So before you try and figure it out, just let them out, because it'll be a lot easier to figure it out when you see what the heck is there, and you can't even see what's there until you let them flow. So to let them flow, you just change your environment, go to a safe place where you feel safe, where nobody can see you except you, yourself, and you and your higher self, or someone trusted, or a therapist, a safe space, your car, the bathroom, the forest, wherever, and let it out. Journal, bring it up, let it out. Don't journal about what happened, journal about how you feel, and just let it out. Automatic writing. Let it out, let it out. and accept it for what it is instead of trying to control. You got to like release control to let things come to you, to magnetize. What else can I say? Yeah, it's 2 languages. I think that's why this is reflecting that. You got English, 3 languages. You got Chinese, Mandarin, I don't know, and Sanskrit, Punjabi. So you have 2 tones. They come together and they make a third. So it's like it's another language. And that's the highs of your life. You're going to have these highs of your life that are in communion with your divine self, that will take you higher than any drug ever could, because it's real. And you know that this was miraculous. This was more real than what we call real. And the more this happens to you, the more you're going to just have such a faith, such a gratitude, such a knowing that you're never alone. When you can just be open to entwine with the divine essence, you're never alone. And you're entwined with the Most High, not this stuff that's dragging us down. So you have that connection, that lifeline that's priceless, and it becomes so real that you know that this world is a simulation. It is. It's a friggin' simulation. I actually saw with a rebirth odyssey that I went on with the birthday points, acupuncture, but it was acupressure. I saw the doula from up there put on his ring and leave, and I was in no body. And then I saw these red, it looked almost like red light bulbs, like these red lights, and I just knew I had to go there to kind of like click into the bio body. That's like the earliest memory I have on my way here. And it may as well be a simulation. It seems like it's so unreal down here, so much more real up there, or deep within. It's the same thing. Up there and deep within, it's the same thing. The world is in here. The sun, it's in here too. So when you start flipping things in your mind, you see that The Matrix was based on a true story. It's facts. The Truman Show, it's facts. It's harder to believe, I think, if you have children, because they're everything to you and you need to watch out for their life and they're under your care. But if you don't have kids, if you do have kids, you can feel so much gratitude for that and connect with these beautiful souls, and you can still make it there. Especially now these kids are full of light. It's a new generation, much more advanced. And if you don't have kids, you can also feel gratitude. So you can feel gratitude whether you have kids or whether you don't. If you don't have kids, you can feel so much gratitude that you don't have that responsibility, that you have instead the responsibility to mother or father the whole world, but you're free to die if you want. Like, there's no fear of death. None. That's why the Hemi-sync tapes are so appreciated by people who are on their last days in palliative care. So if you know anybody like that, it would be such a gift to bring them Hemi-sync, the gateway experience. It will make their transition so much more comfortable, their comfort level, everything with that. Robert Monroe's voice is just so soothing. He guides through a lot of it. It's not just binaural beats, it's ocean wave sounds, the tone, and he guides you through most of them. It's very soothing. And think there's one other thing I wanted to say. Oh yes, I'm glad I didn't stop the video. The most important thing, which I meant to start with. There's a rune called Isa that looks like a line, just a straight line. And it means stillness. In a lot of my other videos, I talk about the magician's rod, right? That's this Isa, straight line. In the Bible, it's written, "Be still and know that I am God." Let that sink in. You just have to be still, and you'll know God. If you're open to that, if you want that. You know, a lot of people out there complaining they never had any experience, and they don't believe in anything. Well, if you don't believe it, then you're going to get that reflected, that you don't believe that. You have a more powerful conscience than you give yourself credit for. If people don't believe in their intuition because they think they're imagining it, but that's how you start to develop your intuition. You have to start with imagination. Imagine you are relaxing. If you can't feel your body as you go through your body trying to relax it, but you could imagine being on the beach. Remember, have a memory when you were relaxed. You can transport yourself there in your mind, being very relaxed on the beach or on a massage table or lying in a beautiful place in nature. You can do that. So imagining is going to start opening the door to this process of hemispheric synchronization, just by becoming more comfortable in the right side of your brain. And yeah, you don't have to believe anything that you imagined because you imagined it. You were in control. You're imagining you're in a beautiful place in nature. See, what a lot of this is a difficulty. People fear not being in control. And I think it's because they sense just how powerful their body is, their real energy. And that's why first you have to learn how to be still. And so if you have a Ferrari mind, you have to first learn how to park it. If you have a UFO, you have to first learn how to park it. No matter what your vehicle is, you have to learn how to drive it slowly before you can go to warp speed. So be still, Isa, and know that I am God. God is the inhale, it's the exhale, and it's that space in between where there's nothing. And you feel it the most in that nothingness, in that total stillness, because you're moving on the in-breath. When you hold your breath, though, you kind of go somewhere, and you exhale it, and if you hold your breath again, you kind of go somewhere. So it's like you're moving with the breath, in, out, but if you hold it for just a few seconds before releasing, hold it a bit before inhaling, it's going to help you take that foot off the gas and get more still. The more still you are, the more energy you're carrying in alignment. The magician's rod, the wand. So be still. There's no rush. Try managing your energy instead of your time. This is another great trick. That's why meditators tend to meditate in the morning, because we know how valuable it is. And if you don't know yourself at the start of the day and where you're at emotionally, other things can get to you so much more easily. Whereas if you start the day knowing exactly what you're feeling, who you are, you have the answers, then when you walk into a room, you have your shit together. You have all your energy together, you're in alignment, you know exactly who you are. It's going to make your whole day flow in synchronicity like water, because you're like water. You're managing your energy instead of your time. So I'm one of these chronically late people or early, because I always imagine I have more time than I have, because I'm often in these high frequency states where time is actually going by faster than on Earth. But I don't worry about it, you know, and my friends know that I'm just like this. And often I find if somebody gets triggered for me being late, it's for a reason. It's like when you're vibrating at a very high place, you can become a walking trigger to expose people's shadow. Everything is in divine timing anyway. So for me, what's more valuable is if I'm going to show up somewhere, I'm going to show up with my energy good. I'm going to show up in alignment. I'm going to be there in presence. For me, that's far more valuable than being there on the minute, not a minute late. If I were to show up there on time, but like sweating and like I'm bringing that energy into the other person, I'm not okay with that. No, like time is the one thing we'll never get back, so it's very valuable. It's how you use your time is very important. But consider rethinking the value of time, because it is so valuable. Why would you want to spend any of your time on this earth stressed out, flustered, worried about what other people think? All that BS. This is your life. You came here to live it and to explore your emotions and to blossom. You didn't come down here on earth to be spanked and rushed and this. I mean, when you're a kid, you have no choice. It's not under your control. But when you're older, you do. I'm telling you, there's like that 80-20 rule, you know. When you're older, you know this rule where 20% of your customers are going to give you 80% of your business. So if you're one of these people thinking, well, the more time I put in, the more I'm going to get back, and I have to focus on every client, you're not actually using your time the most efficiently. You have to think more creatively, where if I focus more of my energy on the 20% that actually bring me back the return, then you can get a larger return, or by upselling those or something like that. You know, you have to think in other ways where you can actually be way more efficient, get way more of a return by utilizing a certain portion of your day when you have the most energy, when you are in most alignment, and focusing that like a laser on where you're going to get your energy returned. So you're not just spilling out your cup everywhere and not getting anything back, because that's how you end up depleted. So I invite you to start thinking in terms of energy, balance, depth going along with height, how opposites are true. As deep as you go is the same as high as you go. So much love. I wish you love, love, and more love. What else is true? Hey, find your truth. See you next time. Subscribe, like if you like. If you don't troll. Bye.